Welcome to the House of Entrepreneurs, where we help others pursue entrepreneurship. Now, today I am so happy because someone chose to share some love with us and spend the Valentine with us. And so he's a financial service professional, and he's been in the game for 10 years, and so today he's going to be sharing with us his journey and how to get into the financial service sector. So I'm so happy. Let's get into it and learn more. Thank you so much, Joe, for coming. Thank you for accepting to spend Valentine with us. Thank you for showing us love. Thank you so much.
It's great to be here.
I've been following you on Facebook, and there's so much wisdom that you've been writing on Facebook. And there's this particular day that I read an article that you wrote, and it was planning versus planning. And the minute I saw it, I was like, I talked to my wife, and I was like, hey, we need to have you on the show, because the article was it had a lot of wisdom. And I wanted, before we even get into that, I want you to first talk into that and like what led you to write that article, planning versus planning. And
Sure.
and would you please elaborate more on what that article was about, and tell our viewers?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. Yeah, so, just over 10 years of insurance and financial services experience.
Yeah.
One of the things I've done along the way, of course, as anybody in business would, is kind of make observations.
Yeah.
And learn and glean as much as you can along the way in order to better serve and help people.
Yeah.
And so that's really what the panning versus planning kind of play on words came from, was just an observation of this, that a lot of folks, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of Americans are panning, financially speaking. And kind of what that means to me is the attitude behind a lot of financial stuff is, well, it'll all pan out. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years, maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
But right now I'm too busy. I've got too much going on.
Yeah.
And so, with all due respect, the root of that is a panning idea that things will just work out. Things will take care of themselves, including my financial future. And so I'm just kind of challenging that a little, saying, hey, number one, I can help. But number two, that's really not planning, it's panning.
Yeah.
And things can pan out, right?
Yeah.
Which can be a problem, because that kind of hinders and prohibits us from taking action when we see things just kind of work along the way. So I'm kind of just giving a little bit of a call on my Facebook page, and to those who are panning, and saying, hey, let's get a plan in place. I can help you, and let's start taking care of our future.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the future is going to take care of you.
Yeah.
It's kind of either or. It's either you take care of it or it'll take care of you. Either you manage your finances or your finances will manage you.
Yeah.
At large, that's how it'll work out for us.
Yeah.
So that's where that came from. Or just a real observation. Yeah, there's a lot of procrastination when it comes to finances. It almost seems like a default attitude when we talk about money or wealth. Is there's this innate sense of later, tomorrow, next year, 10 years. I'll worry about that next week, whatever it is, but it's never now, I find. And I'm guilty of this, right?
Yeah.
And I'm in financial services, and I'm guilty of this in different ways, and some of them are small ways, some of them are bigger ways, but just saying, man, this is serious, and we need to take heed to our financial future, because we have one.
Yeah. So it's basically saying, if you don't take care of your financial future, you will be panning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
If you don't plan for your financial future, you're going to be panning at the end of the day.
Yeah.
When you're at retirement, you look back and say, "Man, what did I do?"
Absolutely, and that's another big observation in over 10 years is sitting with a lot of people who are within that 10-year time frame to retirement, and really the majority of them at times have just panned along the way, and they finally meet with me or someone like me, and it's almost like their fingers are still crossed, right? Like, I hope it worked out, you know? And I would have to say, as a financial services professional, that's due at large to us, not our clients. It's due to a severe lack of education and leadership along the way. And that's another observation too, is a lot of that's on us. So I'm passionate about planning, forward thinking, helping to point my clients to the future and really face future reality, so that we don't pan, or at least if we do at times, because we're all imperfect, we're going to miss the beat, skip the beat here and there, but at large we want to plan in light of the future. So I need to look at the future. I need to look at what life will be like then, in order to eliminate any panning now, so that I know it's going to work at that time.
Perfect. What led you to start your company, or start your business in the financial services?
Yeah, sure.
Specifically insurance and retirement.
Yeah. So in fact, I'd have to coin a phrase that was just recently said of my profession. A company that I provide products for. They did a little article on me, which was really awesome. And the opening line to the article was, insurance and financial services started as a happy accident for Joseph Robinson. Wow. And so I like that, and it's true. It was honestly accidental. Over 10 years ago, I had just moved back to the state of Maine, Bangor, Maine. And long story short, I had been at a church conference, a ministry conference, and they were raffling off an iPod. You know, the little iPod music. Now they're almost extinct, right? They're like antiques. But I won the raffle. So I won this little iPod. There was a gentleman there who had a young boy, probably a 10-year-old young man, and he was all bummed out because he didn't win. And so the father, said, "Hey, are you going to use that, or would you be willing to sell me that or whatnot?" And I said, "Man, I'll give it to him. I'll bless him with it." Wow. So believe it or not, that led me to going to this man's office, downtown Bangor. And at that time, he was working in a financial advisor's office. And so I just happened to stroll in one afternoon and to deliver the iPod to him, to give to his son. And while I'm there, the manager of that financial services practice spotted me in the entryway. And I had just gotten out of work, and I had a dress shirt on. And so, he just thought I looked somewhat professional, and offered a sit down like this, right on the spot. And I wasn't expecting it. I had no idea what life insurance or financial services was at the time. So I was very oblivious, but at that time of my life, I felt like, man, I need some type of opportunity, more than what I was doing at the present time. So he sat me down for just 30 to 40 minutes, and kind of just painted the picture of what this industry can do for me as a profession, but also all that I can do for others in that profession. And so having 10 years prior of leadership experience and really believing in serving and guiding and helping people, the more he talked, the more it just seemed to click with me and really make sense. And so I just kind of said, this is crazy, but this is no brainer for me. My personality, my skill sets seem to really fit this mold perfectly, quite honestly. And so I started immediately studying for my licenses. And within 3 months, I was fully licensed. And working downtown Bangor in my first office. And so that was over 10 years ago. Oh, wow. So a little bit of an accident there. But a happy accident, and one that I love doing every day.
And you've stuck for the last, you've stuck in the same not really stuck, but you've happily enjoyed the stayed in the profession for
Absolutely.
10 years. And
Absolutely.
so what would you tell someone who has been thinking about maybe joining the same profession? Is there still room? Is it crowded? Or what would you tell someone, like what skill set would they have to have if they have been thinking about joining the financial sector?
Sure.
Especially the ones that you're in insurance or retirement.
Sure, yeah. So I would say, and statistics at large would say that this would be the best time in the history of the industry
Yeah.
to be in the industry, just due to numbers and statistics of people who are on the brink of retirement.
Yeah.
And within that 10-year time frame, I won't get into the weeds over that, but the fact is it's the best time to be in this business and in this industry, hands down. More and more and more people are needing help and education and guidance preparing for the future, right? Many people have been sold stuff, things they didn't need or didn't want, things they weren't educated on. So, as far as qualifying to be in this business, sure, it takes a people personality and some social skills, of course, but I'd go a step deeper than that, really. And I'd say it's all about ethics and character and being one who's willing and able to act in the best interest of others. So, a lot of the insurance and financial services industry has a bad rap for multiple reasons. And one of them being that at large things are just being sold like hotcakes, right? And the arm twister and the heavy pressure and the wool over the eyes. And so that I don't have any taste for that stuff. And if you're a genuine, authentic human being with good character, listen, you can make a go of this industry, and it's an unlimited industry, quite frankly. And that's one of the things I love about it. I love knowing that there's no ceiling, there's no roof to this industry. I once heard an astronaut named Scott Kelly give a corporate speech at one of our corporate events in Texas about 7 years ago. And one of the things he said really stuck with me. And, he's been to outer space, floated around up there for a year, seen the constellations. And the title of his speech, which I'll never forget, is this. It was, "The sky is not the limit." And I love that because that's true of other dynamics in life or business, but certainly true of this business. The sky is not the limit. So you have unlimited potential in this industry to serve others, to earn a fair income doing so. So the sky's not the limit. It's an amazing, amazing industry and opportunity.
And so what would be the difference, or maybe is it the same, being a financial service professional from a financial advisor?
Sure. I can speak to that. So, I guess technically speaking, we would say that a financial advisor has at least a securities license to manage stocks or bonds or mutual funds, or to work with variable insurance products like variable annuities, variable life insurance. However, at large, insurance agents, financial advisors alike, call themselves financial advisors. So it really comes down to, what's your niche in the insurance business? What products do you utilize? Are you utilizing life insurance products and annuities? Is that something you're experienced in, knowledgeable in? Do you have credentials, a designation? Are you a member of other industry-leading associations like MDRT, the $1 Million Roundtable? NAIFA is another one, the National Association of Insurance and Financial Advisors. So for me, it's been a blend of both insurance and financial advice, and I love doing both. I don't personally hold a securities license or any investment licenses, nor am I a CFP, but I do a lot of the same work using some different products.
So why should someone get a financial, service professional? Why is it important to get one at an early stage?
Sure. Well, I would say this, that depending on which one you go after, right, and
Yeah.
do your homework,
Yeah.
I would say,
Yeah.
and I could tell you a few things to look for, but the facts are this, that one of the reasons to get a financial services professional of some kind as you attempt to build a financial house,
Yeah.
or what we call a financial pyramid,
Yeah.
is due to the fact that a financial services professional, if they're qualified and educated and have, even just at least 5 years experience, will know the right questions to ask you in order to get you in touch with the financial future you want, right? And also the right questions to extract the objectives and goals of that client. That's very important. So again, why does this industry have a bad rap? Still, I'd say at large, is because advisors or agents aren't taking the time to ask the questions that are necessary to provide products and services that are necessary. So instead, it's sales. It's just a sale. I got to sell something. I want to sell something.
Yeah.
I can sell something.
Yeah.
Buy it. Look how flashy this is, right? And so my conviction and my character in business, and this is a growing trend. More and more people are becoming more authentic at this. We want to step back for a moment, and we're not selling anything until we talk for at least an hour, so that I know you and you know me, and I understand your situation, where you've been, where you are, where you want to be, so that I can determine if I'm the right guy to work with you, and so you can determine the same. So that mutuality is very important. So I think those are some major reasons why, and again, it goes back to panning versus planning. If you really want to plan, you do need a professional who can educate you to put that plan together. And to be honest, you may have 2 or 3 professionals that help you do that, especially some of the wealthier clients that I have. I'm working and discussing and emailing and phone calls with attorneys and certified public accountants, just to be sure that the piece of the plan that I'm providing fits into the overall component and dynamic of their financial life. Yeah.
You talked of a financial pyramid. Would you please explain what a financial pyramid is?
Sure. So, the financial house or the financial pyramid, if you Google it, you're going to get like a dozen different ones at least, right? But I've received all of my education through the American College of Financial Services. In fact, I'm just finishing up my designation as an FSCP. So one of the things that I've been taught over the last few years in school there is the financial pyramid. So it's just a simplified approach to looking at the layers and levels of building your house or your pyramid. And so that base level of the pyramid is your protection level. It's your security base. In other words, it's your foundation. Right? And, another observation I've made in 10 years in business here is that most individuals, if we really analyze their whole insurance and financial plan, and we look at all the parts and pieces and what they're doing and why, right? Most of it's being done somewhat upside down, where there's no foundation that's been laid. In fact, most people, most Americans, are throwing all their eggs in one basket, which would be another level of the pyramid. Investments, investment accounts, accumulation for retirement, but they're doing that without the all-important piece of laying a proper foundation of security, so that no matter what comes our way in life, be it tragedy or opportunity, we have a foundation built that enables us to be protected against those tragedies, but also we have some assets built in that foundation where we can access the necessary funds to take advantage of opportunities. So I'm big on, presenting both, because if you're human as I am, right, it's likely I'm going to face some sort of tragedy in life, suffering, trial, hardship.
Yeah.
And the good news is I'm gonna face opportunities in life as well.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be well mixed for all of us humans, right?
Yeah.
And so I like planning in light of both, which is why that foundational piece of a pyramid or a house is most important in the natural sense of building a house, but also in the financial sense of building a financial house. Yeah.
Well, I like that. But what do you think is the main reason why people don't get like these services, financial planning services? Because I hear people say, oh, when I I'm not rich, or I don't have enough assets, why do I need a financial service professional? They are maybe 25 years or 30 years. They're like, oh, I still have 20, 30 years ahead of me. I will start planning when I get 50.
Right.
What's that dynamic in?
Yeah, I love these questions. And these are other major observations that, I talk to people about every day of my life. So, one of them, like you said, just being, I'm going to have to call it procrastination.
Yeah.
At large, there's procrastination, number one, and then there's underestimation. So underestimation of your current finances. And I think too many people are way too hard on themselves and think way too small about the wealth that they do have. And so one of my another phrases I've coined is, whether large or little, your wealth requires stewardship, regardless of how much you do or don't have. I'm a Bible reader. I love Scripture. Right. And so one of my phrases is, whether it's the widow's mite or the rich man's treasure, it all requires stewardship. So little or large, it's about stewardship and proper management. And I want to say to even anybody listening, regardless of how little you think you have, you can do a lot with that over time. And that's where procrastination comes in, and where I usually address it is the longer you wait due to thinking that you don't have enough, the more that future hurries itself upon you. And all of a sudden you're in a pair of shoes where now you have to save large sums of money over a short period of time.
Man, that is so good. Would you please tell look in the camera, and the longer you wait,
in all sincerity, and I practice this, is the longer you wait, the more you have to save over a short period of time. And I see people in these shoes all the time, believe you me. But the sooner you start, believe it or not, if you think you have too little, oh well, that's okay even if you think you do or maybe you do. You can start now saving much smaller sums of money over a much longer period. And those are the shoes you want to be in. So don't sell yourself short on, I don't have enough, or I don't have $1 million. Listen, most people don't, right? So we have to start somewhere. Yeah.
Oh wow, that is good. That is so good. And I think that's what I always tell people. Start from somewhere. Start with $100.
Absolutely.
That $100 in the next 20 years. If you keep putting $100, like 100 every month,
sir.
Or even $10. I used to have there's an organization I started for people who didn't have skills, and so the first thing I told them was, we are going to save money. And they were like, we don't even have money to eat and you're telling us to save money. I was like, yeah, we are, whatever you have, whether it's $1 or
amazing.
And by the end of the year, some of those people are, some of them who are like single mothers who had never had $100, at the end of the year they had saved like $200 and it might look like, what? Someone saved $100, but like 40% of Americans don't have $1,000 saved on their account. I was like, what? And so it's really important that you start small with what you have. It's whether it's small or a lot. Start somewhere.
Absolutely.
Because the future will catch up.
Amen, brother.
Guys, I wanted to come in here for a second and ask you to subscribe and follow me on all my socials, and I will leave the links in the description. Thank you so much. What do you think sets apart successful planning from the rest?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would have to say what sets successful planning apart from the rest is locating and getting in touch with a qualified professional who can provide education and guidance.
Yeah.
And one that you have a mutual connection with. You know, whether it's local or abroad. I mean, more and more, I'm conducting Zoom meetings with others in other states. So yeah, it's the education and the guidance piece. If somebody is acting in your best interests and is going to help educate and guide you, you can be assured you're going to get somewhere near where you're aiming, right?
Yes.
Kind of like a compass.
Yeah.
So if you got somebody who uses a compass rather than a bunch of sales tactics, right? Which is, again, why we've gotten a bad rep in this industry. You got somebody who's willing to take the time to use a compass and help you. Listen, you're going to be well off down the road.
And so I know we've talked about the financial service profession that you're in, but we haven't actually talked about the services that you provide. Would you please tell us the services that you provide?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So yeah, over 10 years ago, I started my profession with Mass Mutual Financial Group. And at that time, I only provided life insurance and annuities, which are a retirement savings vehicle, accumulation, and income vehicle. I was with Mass Mutual for a good 3 years, and then I just was at a juncture in my life. I was getting married and going to become a father, and just said, I need to either get an investment license and provide stocks and bonds and mutual funds, or I need to consider an insurance license to provide property and casualty insurance products to our clients. And so with a lot of prayer and decision-making process, I chose the property and casualty license. And it's been an incredible opportunity to provide those services to our clients, as well as take seriously the liabilities that can come upon our clients throughout their life, that liabilities that can hit their business, their personal assets, their business assets, and be sure that we're insuring against those. So those are the combination. I provide a lot of life insurance and retirement planning solutions, but along the way I'm providing business insurance, liability insurance, umbrella policies, workers' compensation. So
is it like you get the best is it you get the best service provider in the insurance, like maybe like brokerage or?
Well, for me, it's just a comprehensive approach to serving my clients. So, I wanted the opportunity to provide those policies to my clients. I have an assistant in my office who actually manages all of the insurance, the home, the auto insurance, the business insurance, the liability insurance. But again, along the way, just knowing some statistics, right? All of those clients have financial needs, right? And statistics would tell us that the majority of them are being underserved, undereducated, and not led properly. And so having the financial component and background that I do, and really the base, that's the majority of my work is financial services, we're able to help families and households and businesses all across the board. So we can conduct a comprehensive analysis of all of your insurance contracts as well as your financial policies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you help clients determine their financial goals and objectives?
Sure. So I start with at least a 1-hour meeting. If you're gonna work with me in my office, we're gonna get down face to face, in person or on Zoom. And we're going to do a thorough financial analysis. I'm also going to request to review any insurance policies you have, whether that's home and auto insurance or business insurance, a commercial policy, a liability policy, a disability insurance policy, a long-term care insurance policy, life insurance. So all of those things, I'm going to request copies, and I'm going to review them before we meet. So that I can, properly educate, lead, and guide you. But yeah, we're going to spend a good hour together for sure, or else I can't provide you with anything because I don't know anything about your situation. So I use about 3 pages just what the industry would call a fact finder or an analysis. And I just have created this over the years. It's a simplified approach, a very user-friendly analysis, just to extract all the information I need from an individual or a business owner or an entrepreneur. And we're going to look at everything, and we're going to make some good, powerful, meaningful choices to hopefully shift your life into the future and help transform what you're doing and why.
Do you also help someone? Let's say they have short-term goals and long-term goals.
Sure.
Do you help them figure out what to do first or how to balance the two?
Yes, I do, absolutely. In fact, again, where my approach is to step back and slow down rather than hurry up and try to sell stuff, right? Stepping back, slowing down, that process is very important because there are short-term goals or needs, such as I was just meeting with a client yesterday on Zoom from another state. One of their short-term goals is to purchase their first home, right? So I'm not going to say, hey, let's put all the money you got into a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA or a 401k. No, before we do that, let's analyze your goal and look at what you have for income that's available to be positioned for this reason. So we're going to look at the short-term goals first all day long and make sure that, especially something that substantial, that we have assets going into a savings account that's purely liquid and available for access without penalties that we can get at for anything that arises along the way. So, the traditional or the standard approach to savings would be 3 to 6 months of income storage. So I take that very serious with my clients. I also take very seriously with my clients the use of life insurance, at least at its core purpose of providing for one's household, providing for one's financial dependence, be it your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, your parents, anybody who's depending on you financially. We want to be very sure and certain that if something were to happen to you as far as an untimely death is concerned, that we have all of the assets available for your loved ones to maintain their current standard of life with or without you. And so that's very important. The savings piece and the life insurance piece, those are like major foundation stones in your financial pyramid. Two of the most pivotal, I would say.
But I'm curious to know if you have like an investment philosophy, for either your clients or just as a person.
Sure. Being one who's not securities licensed or investment licensed, my philosophy is still, financially speaking, would be I'm major on the heart of the matter. To me, all of life is about the heart of the matter and doing what's right. In fact, the life insurance industry was built and predicated upon do unto others as you would have them do unto you, right? Or love your neighbor as yourself. And so that's major ethics and character and philosophy. And so, as far as philosophy goes for me, it's being sure that we're building properly, right? A Bible passage I love is, by wisdom a house is built, right? And by understanding a foundation is established. That's major in my business, major in all of life. But that's my philosophy right there. If I were to narrow it down, is we've got to lay a foundation. We're not going to start throwing all of our assets into risky business, throwing all of our eggs in one basket. If you were to work with me, we're gonna think again for a moment and step back and think this through and build that foundation and get that in place first and foremost. So building that foundation is a major piece of my philosophy. Yet life insurance is a massive component to my business, to my personal convictions, and building life insurance into a financial plan is of utmost importance to me and my philosophy.
How do you start advising people on which kind of life insurance to take?
Absolutely. That's a big question, and I love that question. I would say Life Insurance 101 is going to come down to an acronym that is used in the industry. It's called DIME, like a dime in your pocket, right? DIME. So debts, income, mortgage, and education. And so those 4 categories, I use them because I want to make everything very simple for my clients. And so I use that with my clients to start thinking about life insurance. We want to at least insure against that mortgage, so that if I carry lots of life insurance, I have my family fully insured. And what I mean by that is I started out insuring against my mortgage, so that I knew if I experienced an untimely death, because I'm going to breathe my last one day.
Yeah.
And I want to live a full life.
Yeah.
But I'm really real with my clients about this. Listen, I don't know what that day is. And I don't know if you do or not, but I don't. So I love my wife and my daughter. And I'm going to plan in light of that day.
Yeah.
Because I don't know when it's coming. So, babe, I at least want you to be able to keep the house.
Yeah.
I don't want you losing the house, the vehicles, the things that we enjoy and have been blessed with. So that mortgage, we're going to insure against that. The next thing would be the debts. We're going to calculate the debts that are owed and be sure that we provide enough life insurance to pay those off, so that those aren't looming over my wife, my daughter, while they're grieving my loss. That's a big deal. Again, that's heart stuff. So at its foundation, that's how I start with life insurance, and also looking at the education. And then that last phase of income planning. We want to be sure, and this comes down to some affordability, especially for younger families. Not every young family can do this whole thing at once. So we start out saying, okay, let's at least insure against the mortgage and the debts. The following year, 2, 3 years, we get back together, and maybe they can afford to buy more life insurance to insure against the loss of income. So in my situation, my wife doesn't work for pay, right? She's a caretaker at home. I have insured against the loss of income so that I know debts are paid, mortgage is paid, and, this is the pivotal point, and my wife and my daughter can maintain their way of life without me here. And so that life insurance provides an income stream that she'll never outlive. And it's tax-free. It's one of the major components of life insurance. It's a tax-free benefit payable to your beneficiaries. So that's kind of life insurance 101. I also do a lot more strategic planning with life insurance for high income earners and business owners. Life insurance has a lot of advantageous uses for the business owner, the high income earner, those looking for alternative retirement strategies. You can store cash in life insurance along the way as you're paying for that and utilizing it for the reasons we're discussing here. But you can build in additional components to a life insurance policy that would accumulate tax-free income for retirement, which is becoming more and more popular in this day and time.
Wow, that's thank you so much for saying that, because there's so many people who they die and leave debts behind. They leave,
right.
They leave their families, and the mortgage is not paid. They don't know how much was invested. And but also what you're saying is, when you get life insurance, the advantage is it's tax-free.
So the death benefit of a life insurance policy is payable tax-free to your beneficiaries, whoever you've listed on that policy. That's purely tax-free cash going to your family. So that's a very attractive and advantageous component to using life insurance to insure against financial hardship or tragedy. And also, the beauty is, whether you're a small family or you're a wealthy family, or you can always start somewhere and get life insurance. Absolutely. I believe that. I've observed that over 10 years, that regardless of where you're at, something is better than nothing. And again, just starting with the heart of the matter, do I wish for my wife and my daughter to be able to continue their current way of life permanently if I were to depart?
Oh wow! Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time to come and educate us on life insurance and the services that you provide. But I want you to maybe tell someone who is thinking of maybe even just getting into insurance, or who has been thinking about it, but they don't think that it's the right time yet. Maybe, but also maybe there's a fear that is holding them. They don't know where to start from. please help me tell someone who is
Sure.
watching.
Sure, yeah. So in this business, the majority of the time, it's purely a commission-based business.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't have income unless you're helping people and providing products and services to them. So it's a tough business to be in,
Yeah.
but it's well worth it, and it's very rewarding. And I love your question because I'm currently speaking with a colleague who's considering a career shift into this business underneath me. And so he's currently working a full-time position that's providing X amount of dollars, and his wife works as well, but he's at that pivotal point where he knows that he could be in a business like financial services and do very well because he has a good standing with people, he does right by people, and he loves helping people, and he's very relational with people.
Yeah.
He could do very well helping people in this business, but letting go of that salary to kind of jump out into the abyss of unknown income,
Yeah.
right, is a big step to take, but it can be done. And I think it comes back to kind of financial planning 101 of, having that income storage there, right? And so if there's a base there and, your spouse or partner, if you have one, is in agreement for you to kind of take the lunge into this business, and you've got some skills and skill sets where you could grab hold of this business and really help and lead people. It really comes down to just taking the risk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Taking the jump.
Yeah. Well, so what would you advise someone? I would imagine like starting out on your own would be the hardest. Maybe finding someone that you can serve under, or
so there's, at least in my city, Bangor, Maine, a small city of 55,000 people, I can think of close to half a dozen financial advisors who are looking for a successor.
Yeah.
And they can't find any, right? So there's a lot of opportunities out there if you want to be in more of the securities business and carry a securities license and deal with stocks, bonds, mutual funds. But there's also plenty of opportunities in my piece of the profession of life insurance, retirement, insurance solutions. Plenty of opportunities out there for that do provide substantial training. I am so grateful to represent a company that trained me and educated and gives a support system. It's phenomenal.
I really like the life insurance 101, and I hope people can take a lesson in that. That acronym DIME.
Yeah.
First deal with debt, and then income, and then help you with the mortgage, and then so the educational bit was you educate the client on how to go about these things, right?
That, and also providing the necessary funds for pre-planned education for children, so that we can be sure that child 1 and 2 are able to go to college if they wish, or have a down payment on a first home, or you name it. But just providing those educational funds.
If someone is looking for a financial services professional, what are some of the qualities that they should be looking in someone to help them?
Sure. A couple of things I would break that down. One is I would be looking for somebody with experience, and I would say at least 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
And if it's closer to the 3 range, maybe you just want to purchase some term insurance, or be sure that they have someone to discuss your situation with that's a little more experienced.
Yeah.
That's one thing I would look for, is experience, somebody who's been in the business a while. Secondly, I would look for an insurance company that's strong and stable and has some history providing insurance products.
Yeah.
And check their ratings. Check the ratings on the company. Be sure it's a strong company. I'm grateful to have a company that's been around over 100 years with strong ratings and some real history in our nation. So, yeah.
Thank you so much, Joe, for coming. Would you please tell my viewers how they can connect with you and
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I've got my business website, which is RobinsonAgencyBangor.com, and that's where you can locate me and my services, my team. And also, you can get on my calendar there if you wish to meet via Zoom or in person. And I'd be love to help you, love to get with you, and start looking at things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
For coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really happy that you have watched to the end, and I want to encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Go to my social media pages and follow, like, and share, and leave me a comment. And here is the next video that I think you will like.